I'm Jared Gold. I absolutely love deep conversations and really deep questions. And I don't always feel like there's an opportunity for us to have those. So, what I decided to do was I wanted to see if strangers would have those conversations with me. So, I went to the Pedestrian Bridge here in Austin, Texas, and just had a sign with me and wanted to see who would be down to be on this new YouTube talk show of mine. So, I asked 4 different people about their dreams, about their worries, what they're excited about, what they wish they could tell others, and about really transformative experiences that have happened to them. And I was blown away by the answers that I got. I loved it. Here is episode 1 of the Jared Gold Show, and I look forward to interviewing more strangers on super deep topics. So Cam, thank you so much for joining us. What's weighing on you?
Last night, I got a call from my mom, and she told me that my aunt passed away from alcoholism, and we had known that she was struggling with alcoholism for a long time, and I think it's been about 20 years that she's been battling the addiction, and finally last night was just kind of the time where she was pushed over the edge, I guess, and so it was extremely disheartening. And even when you expect something like that to eventually happen, you don't know how it's going to affect you until it really does. And the hole that it creates and the sadness that it prompts is just sometimes, it takes you by surprise. It is a certain emptiness that is incomparable when you lose someone like that to something that seems like it could be preventable. I think it's good to talk about because I think that people are afraid to talk about the hard things, and I think that to be open about the loss and the sadness that you feel is the first step towards healing.
When did that happen again?
This is last week.
Wow. And you seem so composed.
I think I wear it in a different way. I think that when I'm burdened by sadness and loss, it doesn't really manifest itself in tears. It's more so just internal. And I'm a big writer. I love to write poetry and I love to read, and so I think that that's where I express my sadness most. My grief is in that. So I've done that a lot in the past 24 hours.
What are some of your grandest dreams?
Something that I really, really, really want to accomplish before my time is up. This is going to sound so cliche and so cheesy. I genuinely want to affect as many people positively as I can, whether that be through writing, poetry, or working in nonprofit organizations and stuff. I really think that I was put here to be. I really hope that it's through writing one day, because that will be the thing that outlives me the most.
And what would be that ultimate thing that you write to do that?
Probably a collection of poems. I think that that's where I find most of my comfort is in reading poetry, specifically the old stuff, Oscar Wilde and Ralph Waldo Emerson and all of those typical people. I think that poems create such ornate and beautiful feelings in a person, and they encapsulate things that you cannot express in any other way than words. So I would love to be able to do that.
Was there something that catalyzed you being a writer or being comfortable with depth? I'm a stranger just hanging out here, and you came up to me noticing my board and shared that deep thing. Was there something that catalyzed you to be the kind of person to do something kind of daring like that?
Yes, there is. It's more of a collection of events that has led me to become this very open and hopefully inviting person. I was in an abusive relationship when I was 15 for 2 years. During that time, I became extremely secluded from everybody in my life, my family and my friends. After I finally got out of that relationship, I think I just finally understood how important it was to be honest and to tell people that you love how you're feeling. Because if they don't know, then they can't help you. If no one knows what you're going through, no one knows what to do to intervene. And so I think that that really was the turning point in my life. Comfortability with the hard things that made me this way, but I think that that sparked me being able to run headfirst into personable interactions like this. I think people are afraid of being authentic and telling people how they feel. There's so much in life doing that. It can even be dangerous sometimes, speaking from experience. I want to be an example to others that you can be honest and you can be exactly who you are.
How do you recommend others do that?
I think all you have to do is start, and whether that be something that you've always been afraid to say, or maybe it's a very menial thing, like you're in a conflict with someone, or someone may have hurt your feelings in a very trivial sense. When you start, you begin to realize how easy it is, and it becomes easier with practice, of course, but it's uncomfortable at first. I don't think that any of us were born that way.
If someone were to say, I'm worried what other people will think, or it's too hard for me to say what's on my mind, how can people give themselves permission to do that?
Right. If you cannot speak it, you can write it. If you can see it on paper, then that also means that you can read it. And it may take a long time to have it in whatever form, whether it be a physical form or a spoken form. Either way, you're still being authentic in what you do and what you're saying, whether or not you're just admitting it to yourself or to others.
What is the power of writing it, even if it's never shared with anyone?
See, to me, it's everything. So trying to explain it to someone who may not share that view is difficult. I think that for someone who may not understand the power that it holds, it allows you to feel validated. We could all think about it in a more poetic sense. All of life is a story. We're all living our own story, and I roll my eyes, but it really is true. I think it's very validating to see it written out, because I think it's grounding as well. Oh, I really am struggling with this feeling, or what they said did affect me so deeply, or this really is weighing heavily on my heart. It's just an unexplainable relief to at least have it in some form, and just, especially written. I cannot stress this enough.
What is it about having something written on a piece of paper in a document or something? Like, what is it about words on a page that changes everything for you?
You can revisit it, and you are a lot less inclined to forget what you said, or what you used to believe, or what you've been through. For me, that's made all the difference. I struggle a lot with memory for certain reasons in a lot of different ways, and so you can recall, and you can remind yourself. My room is full of these scraps of paper that I've written on over the years, whether it's quotes from a book or it's my own writing. They just serve as reminders. That's what I gravitate most towards, is just having the validation that I'm not crazy.
Any final words?
There's this quote, and it goes something like, "Passions of the poet seem absurd until he is out of sight from men." And yes, I did probably skewer that quote in a way. I think that you are gonna feel silly, especially when you are being authentic in your writing, but do not let that stop you.
All right, Corey, thanks for joining me on the Jared Gold Show. You were drawn to the question of what has you feeling excited.
2023, honestly, more than anything. I feel like every year continues to be a better year than the last one, and this one just continues to feel the same way. If we want to get specific with it, there's a lot of business things I'm excited about.
Is there like one thing that has you really most excited, like if it were to happen or if you were to make it happen?
I was just talking about this actually with a group of other podcasters about how there's a couple guys here in town that I want to get on my podcast show, and do a live in-person interview. One of the names is Jeremy Hill, and the other name is Nick Bear. Nick Bear owns BPN. It's a giant supplement company here, and the other one is Jeremy Hill, who owns The Collective. I fully anticipate doing a live in-person event-style podcast interview with them this year, and that's got me super excited. There's a huge community of health and fitness and wellness people here in Austin specifically, and I just want to continue to pour back into a community that's given so much to me. This town has just done wonders for just my health and my happiness and my community, and so I just see it as a way to give back.
What would be such an outlandish goal that would be like a pure dream if it could happen, but it seems unrealistic? What would be the ultimate thing if it happened for you?
Really, the ultimate goal for me this year is to be a full-time podcaster. So it's kind of ironic that we're sitting here doing this right now. It's my favorite medium in the world. I absolutely love it. Any big podcaster is like, they would do it either way. They just love the craft of doing it, and that's exactly how I feel about it. And so if somebody also wanted to throw money at me for doing that, that'd be incredible.
What would you say is your secret sauce to podcasting, or the unique angle you bring to it, or what's the niche? What's the thing that excites you in particular about the specificity of your podcast?
I feel like it's like the greatest form of flow for me. There's something that happens when you put on a headset and you get on a microphone with somebody else and you have their voice in your head and like in your ears, and how that just like brings you into the present moment where no matter what's happening around you, none of it matters. You're just so in that present moment. To answer your question of like what makes me unique, I've heard this most of my life. I've never seen it as like a skill, but honestly, even though I'm talking right now, I would say listening and really understanding where somebody's coming from has always been a strong suit of mine.
I think that's an interesting thought when you got your headphones in and it's like a high quality mic and it's going directly into your ears, as opposed to just, you know, a one-on-one like we're having, putting their voice into your head.
It's like you're in another world. You go to a different planet and you're so present with that human in front of you. It's the greatest thing in the world for me.
Who's your number one podcaster?
My favorite?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I have a few. So I would say number one, though, on the top of the list is Guy Raz, How I Built This. So that's the entire inspiration behind my show. I've just taken a spin on it and done it purely towards people in the health, fitness, wellness space. Another side one that probably most people wouldn't guess of mine is Jim Jeffries. He's a stand-up comedian. He has a podcast show. It's hilarious / entertaining because like he just brings on other experts onto the show, and then he just basically makes stupid jokes about their expertise. So like you learn something, but it's also hilarious.
Who would be your ultimate interviewee? Pick anyone. Anyone would be down to sit down with you for like 60, 90 minutes. Who is that? And why?
As lame as this sounds and as cliche as this sounds, probably Tim Ferriss. Other people who do podcast shows, whenever they're also guests on my show, they just understand the game, and it just turns into like a fascinating conversation. And he's somebody that not only is incredible at doing his craft, he also has the knowledge that's so far beyond probably what most people have.
What would you say is the best skill for being a podcaster, like that you really admire?
Research. I think most people underestimate how much time and energy really takes into understanding who's coming onto your show, so that you can very quickly get past the surface level stuff and talk to the topics that actually matter, the things that people actually want to listen to do the research to understand like what are the questions nobody's asking. I think that's a skill and a craft that most people don't take seriously enough. There's 4 million podcast shows. Technically only about 100,000 of them are even online or active. I would say about 80% of podcasts, if I get the number correctly, actually don't even make it to 10 episodes because they don't take the time to learn the craft, and they don't take the time to like research it.
Anything else you want to close out on, or any final notes or what have you?
Yeah, I guess like thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. Yeah. This is so random. It's unbelievable.
It's off screen. People can see the tire. You whizzing down the bridge on your very fancy e-bike. A really elaborate looking e-bike. Like for the audience, we'll just tilt the camera. Plugging pedal. So yeah, thanks so much for joining us. It was fun talking with you.
I work in tech, so worried about losing my job. That's the thing that I worry about frequently that I don't talk about too much. I'm like privileged to be where I am in my job, and I make good money, but seeing other companies lay off their people.
What is your job, by the way?
My role is sales engineer. So I help our companies sell and keep clients that want to use our product, but I talk about it from a technical perspective. So I'm not just like boasting about what we do, but actually talking about the nitty-gritty of our product.
How do you like what you do?
I love it. I work from home with my 2 cats and my girlfriend, and I'm in a very important sector of the world. I'm in healthcare. I'm happy to provide care to people that need it.
Why do you enjoy this job so much?
I work with really smart people, and the company I work for has a mission that I believe in, providing access to healthcare to people that might not have access to otherwise. So that's a really important thing to me, the mission.
Does money bring you a lot of anxiety? Or does...
Yeah, I think it does.
How so?
I grew up in a not so well-off family, so it's always been something that I've worried about, my family's worried about, and as I grow older, I realize how much of a worry it can be. When I'm younger, it's like, oh, my parents have money, they'll give me food and clothes or whatever, even if it was hard. But now that I'm the one doing it for myself, it's like, oh shoot, I need money for everything. If something were to happen, if I lose my job, if someone gets into like a medical accident, it's really easy to just lose all that money.
What would be an amount of money where you're like, dude, I'm cool, I'm not worried at all? Like, do you have like an idea?
In like cash in hand, or like making it monthly, or like, I don't know.
Let's say when your bank account hits a certain, or let's say bank account hits a certain amount.
Okay.
No investment assets or anything, just bank account. What's the lowest number?
I would say maybe 300, 400,000, so I can use it on something that will keep me safe. Like, I'm thinking I'd rather have that money, buy some real estate, put all of my time into like property management and real estate, and I can do that for the rest of my life, starting with like 300, 400, I think.
What makes you most proud of yourself?
I think being able to be an example for people around me, like my sister, my girlfriend's siblings.
An example in terms of what?
Like I said before, coming from a family that wasn't well off to begin with, but works hard to do something for himself, and even if you don't come from something, you can still do something and be someone.
Any other things you wish to share with others?
I think people worry a lot, and it's easy to worry. I think people take life too seriously sometimes. I know people just like look down and walk everywhere and try to be in a rush, and sometimes you gotta stop and slow down and look around and just like see that everyone has their own life that they're living, that just look at people around you, and everyone has something to give. Everyone is someone, and we don't care about the people around us as much as we should. I feel like neighbors don't even know each other, and they live next to each other for months, maybe years.
Let's say someone's like, hey, I have to figure out these things, I have bills to pay, I have a reason to worry. What advice would you give them that would allow them to slow down and not take life seriously and look around a little more, get to know their neighbors?
Most people will always have something to worry about, no matter what. If you're rich or not, you might be super wealthy and you're worried about not having good relationships because you're so wealthy. You could be really poor and you have great relationships, but you're worried about paying your next bill. But that doesn't stop you from not worrying or putting space in between those worries, where maybe take 1 or 2 times out of your day, just like appreciate the people around you, go for a walk, and don't be on your phone, don't listen to podcasts. You're always going to worry, no matter what. And if you can do your best to worry less, that's what I would recommend.
All right, Paprika, thank you so much for joining me on my show here. Here are some of the possible questions. Do any of these speak to you in terms of wanting to answer them?
Let's talk about what I wish I could say.
Let's hear it, yeah.
Well, now that I chose that one, I'm kind of speechless. But I believe the sun is shining down upon my face, and it's a guiding tool, this beam of light, and I seem to follow it quite a bit. I try to get in it as much. The sun is a powerful being, and I am so happy to be here with you today and with the sun and sitting on the river of where I happened upon. I'll tell you one of my wildest dreams. It's pretty neat to be able to have the opportunity to share this with a stranger on the bridge here in Austin, Texas. I have a wild vision and dream of communicating with many, many, many people through magic, juggling, and comedy. I have a world of opportunity at my very feet, my hands, my ability. So now it's time to say yes to it and completely go forward.
What do you mean about this opportunity?
This is kind of a late life gift. I suddenly, after 30 years of performing as a professional juggler around the world, I became a magician about 4 or 5 years ago. And I competed in some recent magic competitions and won gold in each performance and in innovation. It was just an incredible sign, just keep going and stay on this path and let life lead and let the sun lead. So I follow the sun, I follow the bright, I follow my path of what this body can still do. It's a journey, and I'm enjoying the journey.
Okay, I have a lot of questions. Firstly, where do we find you?
Paprika's Adventures and paprikamagic.com. And then I'm also have a film out that I just finished. And the film is about women jugglers in this native culture of Tonga in the Pacific Islands. There's a unique culture of women jugglers that only juggle these nuts off of a tree, only juggle in one pattern, and it's the most empowering thing I've ever seen. Now, throughout the world, mostly men juggle. It's very male dominated. So there's a whole country where only women juggle. All the way from young to the aunts, to the grandmothers, to the sisters, to the great-great-grandmothers, it just spans every woman. So anyway, I have a documentary, and it's on Prime and on Tubi. Look up Hiko, H-I-K-O, and the picture will come up. It says Queen's Influence. Or hikofilm.com will also give you.
HI, what advice would you have for someone to find their own light within themselves?
I love that question. Thank you. In fact, I do empowerment seminars that I'm creating. A lot of times people like myself just said, oh, it's a male-dominated environment. But really, it's not about a competition with male, female. It's not a competition with any gender. It's really about looking within yourself, finding the power within, cultivating that, nurturing it, and then allowing it to come out however it will be. Some of us are artists, some of us are chemists, some of us are technicians. We all create every moment of every day. So our choices as we go along empower us or disempower us. So you can choose to empower or disempower yourself and others as you go along.
When you say, look within, some people are artists or chemists or whatever, like, what are telltale signs that someone has a unique gift or something in a certain way? Does it feel a certain way, or how do you recommend someone finds that?
Oh, it's so interesting to find that inkling of an idea or a feeling or a guidance that says, yes, go toward it. And the way I navigate it, it's almost a meditation where I just allow whatever journey I'm going to choose to go on and feel it and kind of talk to it and say, well, how does that feel? And if it's like, I want to be like a poet. What? A poet? Just play with it. And to me, it's about play. The empowerment, I think, is play. To keep the play within ourselves as we grow older, as we're young, and keep the child within. And that's where the lot of the light is. And then venture out. Try something you haven't tried before.
Let's say someone says, okay, Paprika, that sounds great in Fantasyland if I had no problems, but I have bills to pay or XYZ to worry about. So how am I supposed to make time to play? Why is play important right now?
I'm on the Jared Gold show, right?
Yeah, you are.
Now, you chose to make this decision to come here with this camera and this setup today. What made you choose that?
I thought it would be really interesting to be a talk show host. I think that'd be awesome.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's a dream. This dream, you got this vision, you got this thing that you think you want to try. It's about taking steps and going forward with it. Persistence being one of the many keys. One of the most empowering things I found is looking in a mirror, looking in a camera, looking at another person. There's two things. One is, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can. And another thing that's incredibly powerful is looking at another and saying, you can do this. Yes, I know you can do this. You just got to do it. Whatever.
If someone says, okay, well, this dream is silly or this dream is unrealistic, what's the point of starting? What would you say to that?
That's creating resistance. If you set up a wall and a wall and a wall, you say, why I can't, why I can't, why I can't. It's easier to just go, yes, I can, yes, I can, yes, I can. And when you say yes, it creates no resistance. And then you got to watch out for the ride that happens when you say yes. I mean, you truly say yes.
What does a lack of resistance entail?
A journey of living in the moment and completely being in the moment so that you can navigate each moment and find the positive in it, the light, and it'll take you places. It's a journey.
So just saying yes and being in the moment takes you places you don't necessarily have to do anything, so to speak. Is that what I hear?
That's how I see it. 4 full moons ago, the full moon spoke to me one night and said, just say yes. And I was like, you talking to me? What, me? And they're like, yes, just say yes. And I was like, 'cause my life had shifted so much. I was in a funk. I was like, how can I do anything? I'm like, just say yes. That's the scariest damn thing. And really, the sun is talking to the moon, and it's reflecting. It's just another form of light. And I was like, okay, I'll say yes for 1 month. One more full moon. The next day, one woman who I'd been talking to about this magic conference kind of thing, she says, you should enter and could win this. Someone else believing in me and saying yes. You mean I couldn't say no because I had pledged to yes. Sign up for the conference, sign up for the competition, make my travels, keep saying yes the whole way, empower myself, rehearse, make it happen. I haven't performed in years. Picked it back up. Went to the competition. I had a little routine I'd work. Went on the stage, did my thing. It was fun. There was a lot of people. I had a performance again. A couple of days later, Paprika, gold. And I get up there and I get back behind, and the guy that I had been in comedy with comes up and wins. I said, now how did we both win comedy? He says, no, you won stage. And that's a higher, different level. That's like a big one. It was a wonderful moment of complete confusion and of just saying yes and yes and yes. And so then suddenly everything had shifted for me. I got a Las Vegas magician mentor, Jeff McBride, helping me, and then I decided to go to another competition, and then I ended up winning that competition and getting a gold and a silver. So then Christmas comes around, and I said, can't I just say maybe this month, because I'm kind of need a rest. And so I'm still kind of on vacation right now, but each full moon I check in.
That is the exact plot line of a Jim Carrey movie. Have you seen Yes Man?
Oh, I've seen that.
Swear.
That's
And he forced himself to say yes to everything. It was an amazing movie if you like Jim Carrey.
I love Jim Carrey.
It is the exact thing you're describing, which is so comical that you don't even know about it. Where can we follow you besides your documentary? Do you have like a website or social media?
Yeah. Well, his Adventures is one. I'm also on Instagram that way, on Facebook that way.
Perfect.
So you'll find me there. But paprikamagic.com. Actually reach out to me. There's a contact page.
Thank you so much for watching the very first episode of the Jared Gold Show. I had a ton of fun interviewing strangers on deep topics. I will be interviewing more people very shortly. This is going to be a thing. It's going to be awesome. Going forward, I will have the wind problem solved. I bought these little wind covers for my microphones, so I apologize for that. And I'm going to get a little better with production value and setup, such as my voice being the same volume level as the interviewees. But yeah, like, subscribe. I'm going to keep interviewing strangers on deep topics and seeing what people have to say, and hopefully make this the most interesting talk show on YouTube.